How's everybody doing? How you guys doing? Excellent. It's Thursday. You made it. The martinis, martini, the Malbec, and yet you are here. You made it. You're probably wondering, what is the director of Moonlight doing here talking to me about an 8-quadrant tentpole legacy IP massive film? And I gotta say, the thought was very strange to me at first as well, but over the course of making this film, oh my God, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life, and I'm so glad that I made this picture. I don't get to talk to theater owners very often, so I want to tell a little story about myself before I talk too much about the film. In the summer of 1999, I was doing an interview with NATO earlier, reminded me of this. In the summer of 1999, I was an usher at the AMC Aventura 24 in Miami, Florida. Yes, that summer I decided, it was between my freshman and sophomore year, that I wanted to buy a car. And if you've seen Moonlight, you know how I grew up, dirt poor. I had to work every damn day that summer to afford this car. The summer of 1999 was an amazing year for movies. The Phantom Menace, The Matrix, The Sixth Sense. Julia Roberts had 2 movies in theaters that summer. Also Stanley Kubrick had Eyes Wide Shut, Spike had Summer of Sam, and I watched all those damn movies. I would put a sweater on over my uniform and cover up my name tag. My manager was very adamant about that. But I watched all those films, and I worked enough days to save up about $3,500 to buy a 1985 Chevy sedan. I get this car, I drive it from Miami to Tallahassee, and it breaks down about halfway. The car never made it. But in the fall of 1999, I applied to film school. And I think without that job, I would not be on the stage talking to you guys about this wonderful piece that I've made with all my collaborators. So thank you to employ the future filmmakers of the world. Because I'm telling you, in 2035, some kid who's slinging popcorn in your theaters is gonna be on this stage telling you what a wonderful experience he had watching all your movies in your theaters. Now, Mufasa, The Lion King is a very personal film for me. When I was about 14, 15, I lived with my sister. She was a single mother. I had 2 nephews. And back then, there were no iPhones, there were no iPads, none of these fancy screens. If you wanted to arrest the attention of kids you're babysitting, you had to put on a movie. And so through process of elimination, I realized that The Lion King, the OG Lion King, was the film that could arrest these kids' attention. And so I've seen that movie maybe 200 times, watching it with my nephews, or it watching them and me watching it, I should say. And so when the script for Mufasa the Lion King came across my desk, I was reminded of watching these 2 very young people deal with very complex emotions in a way that I felt they were very cared for, they were very respected, and they were very safe. And this film deals with so many of the same issues and in much the same way. And it explores Mufasa's rise to become the iconic king that we all know. And yet what I love about it is that it's so full of heart, and it helps all these kids, these same kids that I helped raise. They're like 30 and 24 now. But it'll help kids like them understand also too how people who are great become the way they are. Audiences can expect so many things in this film: an epic story, comedy with plenty of familiar faces, some absolutely hilarious and some with extreme gravitas. New songs, all new songs. They're handcuffing me. I can't tell you who made those songs, but I promise you the songs are absolutely amazing. And it's an expansive adventure that journeys them all through the continent of Africa as Mufasa and Scar and all these other characters you know and love go on this journey to really find both the circle of life and how they can become the people that they are. Showing is much better than telling, so I am going to show you guys a little bit of this film. Thank you, that one person in the corner who's excited about seeing this thing. I've been working on it for 3.5 years of my life, and I'm excited to show you. But before I do that, I ran into someone who reminded me. I was in the middle of making this film, and I went down to Morelia, Mexico, as a guest of Alejandro Ramirez of Cinepolis, and I met John Fithian. I had no idea what NATO was. I was like, yo, what is some government dude from Europe doing here in Morelia, Mexico, talking about movies? But I met John Fithian, and the movie wasn't dated at that point. And I was talking to John, and we were having this conversation about, you know, this movie being so massive and it playing in theaters. It has to play in theaters. And I didn't understand why I was being asked this question, why I was talking about it. And I also realized there were only certain things that I could control. And coming out of that conversation, I had this thought in my head. I'm known for making this film, Moonlight, which is a very small film with a massive heart. Thank you, person over here. A very small film with a massive heart. And now I'm going to ape Sean Levy, and I'm going to use an F-bomb here. And with this film, speaking to John, because this movie has to play in cinemas. Back then I would say it had to play in cinemas. The movie's dated now. It's absolutely coming to theaters. You guys will see why in a second. But I realized that was a small film with a massive heart. This is a massive fucking film. And my job was to fill it with a massive heart, to fill it with joy and awe and wonder and love. And I feel like working with my collaborators on that film, Moonlight, the same cinematographer, editor, production designer, we have done that. I am so excited to share it with you. Again, showing is better than telling. So we are going to show, this is the first exclusive look at the first teaser for Mufasa the Lion King. As Alan said, please turn off your cell phones. And we're still working on the film, and some of the effects are still being finished, but oh my God, I hope you enjoy it. I will be there alongside you December 20th, 2024 to bring it to audiences. Please enjoy.